Hello and welcome to my unwrapping and first look at the brand new Warhammer 40,000 8th edition Necron Codex. It's in this package here. This will set you back £25. It's a fair bit of money. I think most of the hardback codexes cost £25 nowadays. So without further ado, let's just get this open. Okay. So I've started a little Necron army, just with the models from the Forgebane set and the new Start Collecting box set. I'm going to be looking at this codex and seeing if there are any other models that sort of tickle my fancy, so to speak. So this is the front cover, really nice. I love the glowing green around the border and the shiny sort of cover. You've got here. It is printed by APOL in China, if that means anything to you. I think they print most of their books now, even the big Forge World £80 books, they print those in China. They've been doing so for years. They make most of their scenery in China, they do the books in China. I think the only things that they don't are the paints and most of the the boxed miniatures and their games. So this is a really nice looking book, really dark, and captures the theme of Necrons very well. 120 pages, so it's a good, decent sized book. As I said in the unboxing of the Start Collecting set, one of the reasons why I don't rush out and go and get the book from the store on release day is just because Games Workshop send other YouTubers free early copies, often a couple of weeks before the codex is out. And you've got to ask yourself, would you say anything negative about something if you were given it free and early? The early bit is the key bit. I much preferred it back in the old days when everybody, no matter how small or big your channel was, had a level playing field, whereby everybody got things on the same day, on the release day, and everybody had to pay for them. But the whole climate has changed, and that's what we've got right now. So that's why I'm not in a rush to go out and grab a codex on the release day. I'd rather do my own unboxing and first look video a few days after. So 120 pages, a lovely looking book, really nice pages. You've got the introduction here. You've got this lovely artwork. This is my first ever Necron Codex, guys. So all of this is brand new to me. All the artwork is pretty much brand new to me. You've got the Necrons facing the Eldar here, with a huge Wraith Knight being attacked by scarabs. Scarabs look quite small there though. I think it's scarabs anyway. You've got this lovely shot. I think this is on the collector's edition Codex cover of, I think this is an Immortal with a Tesla carbine, I think it's called. You got In the Beginning, so I'm going to really enjoy reading all of these. This backstory. Great Awakening. You've got some dynasties. You can have a different dynasty if you wish, and then the Awakening Empire. So you've got all where they're waking up on all the tomb worlds. You've got the dormant ones and the active ones. The domain of the Pharaons. So how it's all laid out. The dynastic markings. They do look like Terminators, they really do. Saltec Dynasty. I mean, is this the closest we're going to get to like Terminators on a board game? Maybe there is a Terminator board game, I haven't done my research on that. I like the orange as well. You sort of got Mountain Dew here and Lucasade Orange. So a little bit about the dynasties. The Nilak, yeah, well, hence why you get the Nilak oxide. The Novok, the Thoct, the Charnovok, the Necthist, the Ogdebec, a new epoch begins. So you've got a bit of a timeline going on here. So covers a couple of pages, and then you've got a lovely bit of artwork here with just normal vanilla Space Marines, the Ultramarines against Necrons. Imhotep the Stormlord, it's a nice piece about him. Overlords and Lords, Catacomb Command Barges, Cryptex. So this is, I think this must be new artwork, because that's the new model in the Forgebane set. Illuminor Seras, Oracan the Diviner, Trazin the Infinite, he's quite important I think. Nemesor Zandrek and Vagard Oberon. Anraka the Traveller, Warriors, Immortals, Lichguard, or Leechguard, call them Lichguard, Tombblades, Deathmarks, Destroyer Lords, Destroyers, Flayed Wands. That looks really cool. The Metal Skeletons, Triarch Praetorians, Triarch Stalkers, Ghost Arcs, Annihilation Barges, Night Scythes, really cool models. Nice little dogfight there with Tau. Doomsday Arcs, Monoliths, very old picture now that. Obelisks, Tesseract Vaults. That looks so cool. Even gonna get some Thunderhawks, look. Canoptech Wraiths, Canoptech Spiders, Canoptech Scarabs, Catan Shards, the Nightbringer, the Deceiver, and that's pretty much it. So a lot of units, a huge number of units. You know, definitely more than Tyranids, I want to say, more than Death Guard too. A lot of units there and characters. They're really fleshed out. Sort of, yeah, no pun intended there, but that's a lot of units. And you've got the special characters there with an Overlord. I love the way they've done this. I love this sort of green kind of border with spaces and pictures of the painted models. So you've got some Lichguard there, some Warriors, some Immortals, some more, a collection of them there, of Warriors, Immortals and Flayed Ones and Lichguard. Then Catan, Shard of the Deceiver. Catan, Shard of the Nightbringer. And a Ghost Arc and a Doomsday Arc. And some Monoliths. And then the new Cryptech. And then a couple of characters. I must say the artwork for Illumina Seras looks a lot better than the model. Awakening the Legions, here we go then. So this is interesting because what you've got here is they've gone down the route of the units in the Forgebane kit. Just here. It's relatively small starting force. So you've got the 3 Wraiths, the Cryptech, the Lichguard and the Immortal, and they are the models that you get in the Forgebane set. They haven't got the models that you get in the Start Collecting set, don't think anywhere, which is out of the ordinary. Normally you have a Start Collecting set and you have the little force, but they've done it differently. They've put the Forgebane ones on. Maybe the Start Collecting set wasn't conceived at the point of making this codex, but I highly doubt that because they both just came out within a week or two. But this one here does have some of the Start Collecting set. So it's got the Scarabs, the Warriors, the Immortals, the Overlord and the Annihilation Barge. So it sort of has the Start Collecting set there close by, but that's the main focus. And then you've got a huge army here where they've added more Warriors, more Immortals, and a Doomsday Arc, a Monolith. And then I love these army pictures where they're numbered and they draw your attention and to the units. They were one of the first things that got me into the hobby for Space Marines, when they showed like, oh, you know you've got a squad of Space Marines, but then you can have a Rhino, or then you can have a squad of Scouts or a Dreadnought. They really help, and I think they're definitely worthwhile in these books. You've got the Dynasties Ascendant. So we're straight on to the data sheets now. So you've got the Dynasty, so you've got keywords of Dynasty and the abilities, which are reanimation protocols and living metal. So not too many things to get your head around in the Necron Codex. And it kicks off with the character Imhotep the Stormlord. Really love the colour scheme in this, like the Death Guard, like the Tyranids, even like the Adeptus Mechanicus. I think they're doing a stunning job. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the Imperial Knight Codex and the Death Watch Codex. But at least with this book, I think the colour scheme, they couldn't have got it any better. It's absolutely fantastic with the green and the different shades of green. So you've got Imhotep the Stormlord, 10 power points, he's got 6 wounds, he's got a very nice staff there and a gauntlet of fire. Then you've got some more HQ characters, so you've got Nemesor, Zandrek, Vargard, Oberon, Illumina Zeras, and Orican the Diviner. So already you've got 5 characters. Oh, 6, 7. So you've got 7 characters. That's a lot. That's a lot in this army. And Raka the Traveller, Trazin the Infinite, and then another HQ choice. You've got a Catacomb Command Barge, which obviously has the Overlord on it. Speaking of which, still in HQ, an Overlord, a Lord, a Cryptek, and a Destroyer Lord. So a huge number of HQs in the Necron army. So if you like characters and you like HQs, this army really gives you that. It's not like the Custodes army where you only get I think 4 choices. You've got 12 choices for HQs in this book. A huge amount. Then we go on to the troops. Only 2 troop choices. You've either got the Necron Warriors or the Necron Warriors +1. I mean the Immortals. So the Necron Warriors, quite decent. They've got their rapid fire Gorse Flayers, they're called. They're kind of standard Space Marine profile categories, but instead of the 3+, they've got the 4+, and they've got the leadership 10. You can have 20 in a unit. Immortals, you can have 10 of those, but their save is a 3+, and they definitely have the better weapons. So Immortals are like the heavier kind of infantry. Then we're into elites, and you've got quite a fair number of elites. Not as many as the HQs, but you've got Lich Guard, which again have 3+ saves, and they have their either the War Scythes or the Hyperphase Swords and Dispersion Shields. Then you've got Death Marks, which you can make from the box set of Immortals. So they're elites, and they have these Synaptic Disintegrators, which basically they can cause mortal wounds. You've got Flayed Ones, good weapon skill, an okay save. You can have 20 in a unit, and you can set them up in a charnel pocket dimension. Basically you can infiltrate them. Old models, I think that they've been redone in Finecast, so take that as you will. I don't think they're a plastic set. Then you've got Triarch Praetorians, which you can make from the Lich Guard set. So they're elites, and the Praetorians have the rods and the particle casters. Then you've got a Triarch Stalker, which is the big spider type thing. A lot of wounds, quite fast, 10 inches, and you can ignore wounds basically with that. The Catan Shard of the Deceiver and the Catan Shard of the Nightbringer are also elite choices. I would have thought they'd be Lord of Wars or heavy support, but they're not. They're elite choices. A lot of wounds, each of them, high toughness, incredible weapon skill, ballistic skill. They're quite fast, I want to say, at 8 inches. Their saves are 4+, but they also have 4+ invulnerable saves too. The Shard has a really decent melee weapon, and the Nightbringer has a very decent but short ranged weapon. And also he has a really nice scythe. Fast attack then. A surprising amount of fast attack compared to, say, I don't know, the Custodes army. You've got the Canoptic Wraiths, which I always think should be elites, but you know, they're fast movement speed of 12 inches. They're quite decent. Again, you can equip them, they're pricey, but you can equip them with transdimensional beamers, which again can inflict mortal wounds. You've got the Canoptic Scarabs, which can always wound on 5+, and you can have a swarm of 9 of them. Tomb Blades, Destroyers. Tomb Blades are like the floating kind of units if you've seen them on the Games Workshop's website, and Destroyers are the ones with the Gauze Cannons or the heavy Gauze Cannons, which are the ones you want because they're the Strength 9 AP -4. Then you've got Heavy Support. Quite a few choices in Heavy Support. Still not as many as HQs, but you've got Heavy Destroyers, which have the heavy Gauze Cannons, which I just mentioned, and then you've got Canoptic Spiders, which are great against Psychics and good at repairing things. Their Particle Beam are okay, I suppose, and their Automaton Claws are okay too. Heavy support choice, very familiar sight, the Necron Monolith. It's essentially their land radar, I want to say. Power points cost of 19. It's armed with 4 Gauze Flux Arcs and a Particle Whip. The Particle Whip is 6 shots of strength 8, and the Gauze Flux Arc is heavy 3. So you've got 12 shots there with that, and 6 shots with the Particle Whip. So you've got 18 shots. It can output a fair bit of damage, but it is very slow moving, only 6-inch moving, but it does have the Eternity Gate, so Necron warriors and things can pour out of it. The Annihilation Barge, you can equip that with a Strength 7 Assault 8 weapon, which is pretty decent, or you can exchange the normal Gauze Cannon for a Tesla cannon, so you can have a twin Tesla Destructor and a Tesla cannon, so you can go all out Tesla with it if you want. Doomsday Arc does have a shooting attack, a very nice shooting attack of a 72-inch range, probably the furthest range of any weapon in this codex, and it's D6 shots of a strength 10, which is absolutely incredible, but you've got to stay still to fire it. Another heavy support choice, you've got the Transcendent Satan, which I think is the one in the Tesseract Vault. Decent movement speed, it's in the 2+ for weapon skill, ballistic skill, it's got high strength, toughness and wounds, it's got an alright number of attacks, it's got the 4+ invulnerable, and it's got a fractured personality, got lots of nice little abilities and things. You've got a Ghost Arc, which has only got the Gauze Flayer arrays, but it can transport 10 Dynasty infantry models, either warriors or characters. You can't put Destroyer Lords in there or anything like that, and it moves 12 inches. It's their transport. And then you've got these 2 units, which are the Flyers. You've got the Doom Scythe and the Night Scythe. They both have movement between 20 inches and 60 inches, considering they've got 12 wounds each. They've both got the 3+ normal saves. They can both go supersonic. I don't know what's gone on here with the printing of my book. That's not me, that's just what's happened in printing. That's a bit odd, but there we go. I want to say that the Doom Scythe is more equipped at taking out other flyers and vehicles, and I want to say the Night Scythe is more about beaming Necron warriors and things onto the battlefield. And then you've got 2 Lord of War choices. So you've got the Obelisk and the Tesseract Vault. The Tesseract Vault may well be the most expensive unit in their codex. 25 power points, this thing, so more than a Transcendent Satan. 25 power points, more than a Monolith. It has a 3+ normal save, a 4+ invulnerable, 28 wounds. It has a high damage output in terms of the number of shots and hits. It's got 4 Tesla Spheres, each one is Assault 5, so you've got 20 shots there, and on hits of a 6, you get 3 hits instead of 1. I know it's highly, highly unlikely, but let's just say you do get 6s for all of them. 60 shots at strength 7. That's not an awful lot of things can go against 60 shots, and you're going to be wounding on most likely 2s because it's strength 7. It's just you're going to have a lot of saves. So high output, good against hordes, I want to say. However, only 24-inch range, and the Obelisk also has the Tesla Spheres too. The main difference between the Obelisk and the Tesseract Vault is the Obelisk is cheaper, has less wounds, but a better toughness, and it can fire off a gravity pulse, which is can knock off mortal wounds off flyers. And that's pretty much all the units. A lot of units, a lot of data sheets there. We've got here from the start essentially 21 pages of data sheets. That is enormous. That's a fair amount. Necrons definitely fleshed out army these days. Since their inception in since 2001, I think. So a good sort of 16 years worth of units and rules, things like that. Armory of the Ancients it just explains the ranged weapons, the melee weapons, and the other war gear. You've got a little bit of a separating bit of art here of the units fighting against Mechanicum. And then you've got Code of War, so you've got different abilities, dynastic codes, so a little bit like Tyranids with their high fleets. They're all the dynasties, or dynasties, whatever you want to call them. And then you've got the stratagems, and then you've got the powers of the Catan, and the artifacts of eons, and warlord traits, and dynasty warlord traits, and then you've got the points values, and then for some reason you've got a picture of the weapons. Quite strange that you got that there rather than, you know, the profiles of the weapons themselves in terms of the damage and things. However, it's a nice little reference sheet if you're looking at the weapons and you're thinking about which ones to buy. You've got them here, so you've got a lot of named characters there, which are set number of points. Probably say the most expensive units are the Tesseract Vaults. I mean, that's almost 500 points. It's crazy. And then you've just got tactical objectives right at the back. So 120 pages on the nose, a decent sized codex. Obviously I haven't read it, I've just got it. It smells so good. Oh, lovely, fresh print. I'm going to go away, read it, and get a full review where I go through the fluff and I go through the units in more detail as soon as I can. It's probably going to be at the end of all the Necron videos, and probably one of the last things I do, along with the Necron Army so far video. Anyway, what do you guys think of the new Warhammer 40,000 Necron Codex? Please do put it in the comments below. I'm completely new to Necrons. This is all new territory for me, so I'm very grateful if we could all help each other through this journey. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. All hail the machine.